Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for video number 2 in my quick and easy card series. Today's card is a one-layer card with basically just some stamping, really super simple. I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up! Botanical Blooms set, a couple of different stamps from there, and also the Altenew Superscript 2 set. The first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of cardstock. I'm using the extra thick Stampin' Up! Cardstock since I'm going to be using Stampin' Up! Inks. This cardstock is really nice and thick. It's thicker than the Neenah that I normally use. And I use my mini scoreboard. I never show that on the video, but I use my scoreboard to score them, and then I use a bone folder to get a nice crisp fold. And then I actually unfolded it to put it in my MISTI because I didn't want it to pop up while I was stamping. So I'm going to take my thanks sentiment, I'm going to put it in the center toward the bottom, and I'm going to ink it up with some Hero Arts black ink. It's one of my juicier ink pads because it's one of the newer ones. And so I'm going to stamp it down and see how it comes out. This is a pretty solid sentiment, so I figured it was going to take at least 2 to get a nice crisp image. And it did take twice, but that's all. And so I'm going to stamp that one more time so I get it really nice and dark. If yours doesn't come out dark, you can always fill in the gaps with a marker. Now I'm going to work on my flower stamping. The first color combination I'm using is Pink Pirouette and Melon Mambo. I'm going to start with the Pink Pirouette, and I'm going to use my largest flower stamp. And when I stamp these down, I'm going to spread them out a little bit, almost kind of in a triangular pattern, because that's just kind of the best way to get a nice random look. Whenever I'm doing a pattern like this where I have multiple stamps, I always start with the largest one first. So I did 3 of them. I was going to do a 4th one on the left-hand side, but then decided it was a little bit too big. I wanted to make sure I had enough room for my other colors. So I stopped there. And now I'm going to stamp the center of these flowers with Melon Mambo. Pretty straightforward, just stamping. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, something you can throw together pretty quickly when you have somewhere to go or you just press for time. So I'm going to stamp all 3 of these, and then I'll move on to my next color combination, which is So Saffron and Calypso Coral. I love So Saffron because it's kind of like a muted yellow color. It's not really bright like you would get with Daffodil Delight or Squeeze Lemonade Distress ink. It's just a nice subtle yellow color, which complements the pink really well. And also notice that I'm stamping off the sides of the paper, and when you do that, it gives it a look that there's something more than just what's on the card. So I'm going to close that up and open my Calypso Coral, and I chose the tiny little center middle. I actually tried using the one that has all of the things coming out of it, little strings coming out of it, and I thought it was a little bit too busy for this card. So next I'm moving on to Wisteria Wonder and Elegant Eggplant, and I'm using the same flower that I used for the So Saffron. So I cleaned off my stamps and now I'm back using the purples. So now at this point I'm just filling in anywhere where there's a gap. And there are actually some larger gaps, like there's that one above the T. I was a little disappointed with how that turned out, but I still have one more stamp to go, so I'll just fill that in a minute here. All right, so all I have left now is to use Elegant Eggplant to stamp the middles of these flowers. I'm using the same middle that I used on the So Saffron flower. And then finally I'm going to fill in the gaps with my Wild Wasabi, and I'm actually using the same stamp that I used for the middles of the So Saffron and the Wisteria Wonder. So I'm just going to quickly put this in random places just between the flowers, hang some of them off the edge, and after I was done kind of with the top portion, I'm trying not to get too close to the sentiment, and then I decided to go a little bit further down with the greens just to make it look like sort of falling around the sentiment. So I'm going to add a little bit more down there. And that's the card for today. So really quick and easy to put together, and with the right colors you can get something that looks really beautiful. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.